Today we are making a vegan pumpkin cheesecake, and I gotta say, this thing was over the top delicious, just super decadent and perfect for this time of year, or literally any time of the year. So let's get it going. First, let's talk about the cream cheese. I highly recommend Tofutti over something like the Kite Hill, mostly because of the price. I would stay away from the coconut-based cream cheeses as well, as they probably won't set right. But let me know if you'd like to see a cashew-based cheesecake in the future, as that's definitely something I'd like to explore. But for this recipe, we're using the Tofutti, and you'll want them to be at room temperature, so let them hang out on the countertop for a few hours. Now while that's happening, let's get our crust together. I'm going to use this entire package of Biscoff cookies for the crust, and they go perfectly with something like this. And all we need to do is crush them up. Usually I'd use my food processor, but it recently died, so I'm using my Vitamix, which is fine. It just means I have to do it in batches. No big deal. And once all of our cookies are crushed up, we're going to add in half a cup of melted vegan butter. We're going to give that a mix, and you should be able to clump it together like so. Next, we'll get a 9-inch springform pan and give it a decent spritz of cooking spray. You could also use parchment paper if you like. And then we just got to get our butter and cookie mixture in there. After that, grab something with a flat bottom and gently press the crust down like so. Once your crust is looking good, let's add this to an oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. And while that's happening, let's put together our filling. So to a stand mixer, let's add in our cream cheese. I'm using 4 8-ounce packages. We'll also add in half a cup of vegan sour cream. And then we're going to attach the whisk to our stand mixer and mix that at medium speed for a minute or so, making sure to scrape down the sides as needed. I also added in a teaspoon of lactic acid for a bit more tang. You could also add in a little lemon juice if you like. But next we'll add in our sugar, so let's start in with a half cup of white sugar, followed by a full cup of brown sugar. And then a couple pinches of salt just for balance. We're gonna mix that for a minute or so, scrape down the sides, mix some more, and then we're gonna add in 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. And for the eggs, I'll be using these Bob's Red Mill vegan eggs, which I totally recommend. And we'll add in 4 of those Bob's eggs. And then next, we're gonna add in 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I probably should have made a cornstarch slurry just to make sure we get no lumps, so I suggest doing that. And then next, the star of the show, an entire can of pumpkin puree. And as many others have pointed out, you should get the pure pumpkin stuff, not the pie mix. So get that whole can in there, followed by a tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. And as we've been doing, just continue to mix and scrape down the sides for a minute or so. And this was the consistency I had once finished. And it was pretty hard not to just eat this stuff straight off the spatula, even though I totally just did that. And now all we need to do is get our cooled crust, and we're going to wrap it in some foil because we're going to cook this in a water bath, which will help ensure it doesn't crack. And the foil is just to make sure that no water gets in, even though it probably won't, but you can never be too careful. And then we'll toss that in a roasting pan or some kind of vessel that can hold the pan and has a high wall. And before you add your filling to the pan, like I did here, make sure to spray down the sides just to help the cheesecake from sticking. I actually forgot this step the first time I made this, and it was fine, but I wanted to add some just to be safe. And then once our filling is in there, you can smooth it out with a spatula. And now all we got to do is add that roasting pan to a 325 degree preheated oven. And we're going to carefully pour in about 1 inch of boiling water. I was actually more scared of this than deep frying, but probably because this is all new to me. Did I mention this was my first cheesecake? It is. But I had a lot of help from the Preppy Kitchens video, which I'll link in the description. But now we just got to bake that for 1 hour, and then when that hour is up, don't open the oven door, just turn off the oven and let the cheesecake cool down in the oven for 1 more hour. And once that's done, take it out and then let that cool to room temperature, and then we're going to cover it and put that in the fridge for at least 6 hours, but really just do it overnight. Then the next morning for breakfast, you can take it out, and we're going to use a knife that's got a little bit of hot water on it just to cut out a slice. And next we need to make a quick cookie butter drizzle, which is literally just some of this cookie butter, which you can microwave until it's melted and drizzle worthy. I'd say like 20 seconds or so. And then get your breakfast slice of cheesecake and drizzle on that wonderful cookie butter sauce. And then we're gonna give it a nice dollop of some vegan whipped cream. And now it's time to dig in, and like I said at the beginning, this was just so unbelievably delicious. That tangy and sweet filling, which is just super pumpkin ninny, and that Biscoff crust and that cookie butter drizzle. I mean, it's just honestly like my favorite thing right now. I highly recommend you make this as soon as possible and blow the socks off your friends and family. You can also make some other sweet treats, which I've got linked right here. I hope you're all doing great, and I'll see you next time.